A young student, David, gave the girl a gift, but it was robbed by the school bully. He held it and constantly mocked him. Millie asks him to quickly return it. He pretended to give it to David, but immediately the bully threw it away. David had to pick it up and didn't care about their intervention. After getting it, he said that nothing happened. Then he suddenly fell into the ice hole. Millie screamed and ran to David, who was pushed into the ice by the current, and then disappeared. The water around him rose, and he was taken to the library. The scene made him overwhelmed. When he got home, his alcoholic father scolded him for dirtying the floor. He entered his room and closed the door, but he continued to talk. The moment his father knocked on it, David teleported again back to the library, but it was locked. David realized that he could teleport by just imagining any place, and he could teleport there. David returned to his room, and his father said that the police were looking for him. He took out his mom's picture and found out why she disappeared, so he decided to go. At this time, Millie, sitting in the room crying alone, heard a sound. She rushed out to the backyard and saw the gift that David had left on the swing. She realizes that David is still alive. By this time, David had gone to the bank to be able to see the inside of the bank. He pretended to go to the toilet, and seeing the vault close, he had already pictured it in his mind so he could teleport inside. David brought all the equipment he needed back to the hotel and teleported directly into the vault. He discovered the bag was too small, so he returned to the hotel. Unable to get a bigger bag, he decided to take the bedsheets. He collected a large amount of money. David's life was too sweet and satisfying. The next day, a mysterious man named Roland came to the bank. He said that the thief had seen the treasury. He asked the bank manager to give a list of people who have come in and out of the bank recently, but he seemed to be investigating in the wrong direction and could not find out who the thief was. David now has the opportunity and money to travel all over the world over the years. A man was hung from a tree by a cable in a tropical forest, and Roland was the one who specialized in handling teleporters. Then he received a call that there was news about the bank robbery case that year, and he went immediately. David came home and felt something wrong when he was about to teleport. Roland called him back. He showed David some clues that might lead to the bank robbery, but when David asked to meet his lawyer, Roland said there was no need for that because he was not a policeman and did not come to arrest him. After hearing David wanted to leave, Roland pulled out the electric baton from his backpack and asked David what had made him persist until now. David tried to use all his strength to teleport, but he couldn't. After a few fights, David took a photo. He wanted to focus so he could teleport to the location of the photo, but it seems his eyes can't carry out the task. This was a side effect caused by electric current. David got tied up. Roland fixed the other end of the rope on the floor, but David focused his mind and carried the rope through the wall. Then he started packing up the money, and Roland tried to get into the room. David instantly teleported when Roland was about to hold him down, but through the picture on the wall, Roland knew his teleport route. David wanted to find Millie, the girl he had liked since high school, but she had already left the house. She worked at a nearby bar. David went there but didn't know how to start a conversation. When he was about to leave, the person who used to bully him immediately recognized him. David told him that he had picked the wrong person. The bully kept clinging to him and didn't let him go until Millie showed up. She called David by his name, making the bully much more assured of his thoughts. The bully continues to tease him. The girl was very angry and told him to go away, but he went to pat her buttocks. Right after that, he was punched by David. The fight between the two goes out the door, but David couldn't hit him when he was celebrating his victory. David ran to grab him, then teleported to a small computer room. The bully looked at David in horror, while David left him there all alone. When David came back, he told Millie that the bully had gone home. He invited her to go with him to Rome for a vacation, so she agreed. The person sitting opposite the bully was Roland. He asked for David and his girlfriend. Then he phoned the team, informing them about the plans, and had to go to Rome. David and his lover are enjoying their time together, but they didn't know that danger was approaching. When they arrived at the arena in Rome, he met Griffin, who had the same abilities as himself. He said he was being targeted by night. Then two mysterious men suddenly came out of the darkness. When David saw this, he teleported, and they brought out the Mystic's electric iron baton and started to fire to attack Griffin. David wanted to run away. Unfortunately, he was trapped. They were the knights who hunted for teleporters. The blonde guy was an expert on knights. He was such a strong man that he could oppose them and disappeared quickly. David finally realized the seriousness of the matter, then immediately took Millie to the airport to return home. At this time, Roland went to David's father's house, although he had not seen his son for 8 years. When he was asked questions, he did not say a word. David teleported home and found his father lying on the ground. He took him to the hospital, but it was too late. This time, David made up his mind to hunt the night with Griffin, thinking about Millie. for she had not been attacked. David rushed to her house, but Roland had already arrived there. But she refused to go with David. During the emergency, David took her away and teleported to the base with his comrades. This incident scared her. Roland also noticed that the two had just left, so he sprayed a mystic liquid into the air, and traces of teleportation appeared. They brought a tool, and then pressed the button. Suddenly, thunder and lightning were all around. After Griffin found out about the incident, he rebuked David. Roland had a device that could open a teleport tunnel that could find them. When they entered, David and Griffin saw that the crack was already too obvious. They hurriedly left on time, before Roland came in. Roland came and carefully observed everything in front of him. And before David had run far, he discovered his mother's picture on the wall. He was then attacked, even pressed against the wall. Roland wanted to end it all, but he was prevented by Griffin. Pointing the fire gun at Roland, he quickly jumped back into the crack, and David was saved. The crack was about to close, and suddenly Millie was tied to a rope and dragged away by Roland. David immediately teleported over there, but as soon as he landed, he was controlled by the group of knights. They fixed him to the wall with ropes, but his gaze was firm. There was a violent shaking. He desperately wanted to move the whole house. Then he told Millie to take a deep breath. As a result, the whole building cracked. Roland was shocked by what he saw. The house also disappeared, instantly teleporting into a deep lake. David took Millie to the library and teleported Roland to a mountain desert where he will stay for the rest of his life.